Hey Giants fans, I'm Shaun O'Hara, and I am honored to be joined and to welcome to the New York Giants the new general manager, Joe Schoen. Joe, congratulations on becoming the new general manager of the New York Giants. I've got to say, I'm sure that's probably going to take a little while to get used to for you, being introduced that way, but what has this whole process been like for you?
Yeah, it's really been a whirlwind, probably the last 2 weeks, just from the initial consent form that they sent in to interview me. And, I was first up with the Giants to interview. It was a really good process. The first interview went really well. And then, we were still with Buffalo in the playoffs and trying to get ready for that, along with, then Chicago had asked to interview me as well. So, you're trying to do your daily duties with the Buffalo Bills while also trying to prepare for the Giants and the Bears. And then, as soon as I got the job, I drove over here the next day. So it's really been a whirlwind. But ever since I've been here, it's been great meeting everybody. It's been a lot of fun. I'm definitely staying busy, and it's really been a good experience.
Sounds like a lot of excitement, not a lot of sleep. But what did you learn about yourself during this whole process?
Yeah, I just think my experience, whether it was from, when I started at Carolina or when I was in Miami or Buffalo, to be able to build on the different rosters and the way we built rosters, or the different leaders that I've been under, or the different teams, why we had success, why we didn't have success, and just building on my experience through the questions that were asked and how I can implement that as we try to build the New York Giants into a championship team. So it's been a lot of fun. You're right about the sleep. I think it was Bill Polian. I'd read his book that, he actually had a notepad next to his bed, and believe it or not, the last couple of nights I've woke up in the middle of the night thinking about things I need to do, and I probably need to take a pen and paper home and put it next to my bed here shortly.
Yeah, not a bad move. As you write down some of those notes about how to build a roster and those philosophies that you're talking about, what are some of those pillars of your philosophy and some of the things that you are looking at specifically as you try to build a roster?
Yeah, to me, I know culture's thrown around a lot, but, guys that'll fit our culture, guys that are smart, tough, dependable, it's going to start there. Guys that are talented, that have really good habits. I think you're going to have, your best chance for success with those type of players. So, ultimately, I think building through the draft, I believe in that. Drafting, developing, and signing your own. I think that's very important if you want to sustain success. I believe in supplementing the roster with free agency and going outside the building, but, don't really like getting into, signing the biggest fish on, out there and spending a lot of money. But, I won't say we'll never do that, but I would prefer to, draft, develop, sign our own. I just think the margin for error is much smaller because you know exactly what you're paying for. You know how the guys work on a daily basis. You know how they fit your culture. So, that's kind of how I foresee us doing it here with the Giants.
Yeah, no doubt. Some of the younger players, fixed costs, if you will.
Absolutely.
You've been through that, obviously, in Buffalo. When you got there, look, they had kind of a playoff drought, and then you guys have built that roster that we're all watching, as of lately. So what have you learned about that experience that you can carry over into this one?
Yeah, I think, they had a drought, but we also had some leaders on the team that we invested in, and I think we're very integral in that. Kyle Williams played for a long time, defensive tackle. Lorenzo Alexander, a couple years later, Lee Smith. We invested in some guys that had leadership qualities, that were veteran players that could help carry our message throughout the locker room while also developing some of those draft picks and young guys. So to me, that's going to be a concerted effort, try to, find out who the leaders are currently in the locker room, but also, if we do have to go outside of the locker room, what are those guys going to add in terms of leadership and carrying whoever the head coach's message is throughout the locker room.
One of the things that we have all kind of heard about you while you were in Buffalo was that you had great relationships with the players, and you knew them and spent time with them, and they would seek you out after games and on the sidelines. How do you do that now with this new team? You can't have a team meeting. You're not going to even technically have them here in person until the offseason program begins. So how do you do that individually?
Yeah, and it's the fact that there's like 2 players here that I've already met today that were in the cafeteria. That's way more than Buffalo, because when the season's over, those guys are they can't get out of Buffalo quick enough with the weather, and I understand that. I love Buffalo, but the guys don't hang around as much, where there's a little bit more to do here in New York City. So yeah, I've reached out to a couple on the phone. A couple have came up to my office. So I just want to get to know everybody as much as I can, let them know what my plan is, let them know what I'm looking for, what type of players I'm looking for, and really, I'm excited to work with all the guys that are currently on the roster. And, the sooner we get the head coach in here, the sooner we can meet with the support staff, find out what these guys are really about, and then continue to develop our offseason plan.
I'm glad you brought up the head coach, because that's obviously on the top of your to-do list right now. As you're looking at these head coaches and these candidates and you're bringing them in for interviews, what are some of the things that you're looking for in each one of them?
Yeah, first and foremost, a partnership. I think the GM and head coach relationship is one of the most important, along with ownership, in the organization, at least the successful organizations. You got to be aligned in the way you're going to build the roster. So, that's important. I think the ability to hire a good staff is very important. You got to have good coordinators. If whoever the head coach is isn't calling a certain side of the ball, if they're a special teams coordinator, whoever it is, to be the, over the top and hire a good staff, good offense coordinator, defense coordinator, position coaches. If it's a first-time head coach, they may not have all the answers, and to have a veteran coach on the staff that can maybe help them through some tough times. Or if it is a guy that has previous head coaching experience, how good of a staff, can they hire, and what are some of the trappings that they can avoid this time through. Leadership's going to be important. I think the ability to develop young players. Again, we've got a lot of draft picks. I think there's going to be a concerted effort to add some guys that will contribute and maybe have some growing pains early on with our draft picks. But you got to have a proven history of developing young players. So those are some of the things I'm going to be looking for in this head coaching search.
As you're looking at that list of coaches, if it's a coach that you don't know very well, how much tougher is that to kind of get a read on them in a short interview as opposed to somebody who you already know? Yeah,
and that's where a lot of research, I call around. I've been in the NFL for 21 years, so all the guys that we brought in, I've either worked with or, I've done extensive research on people that have worked with them, and can I work with this guy? Are they aligned with me philosophically? Are they going to treat people around the building with respect? Are they going to be open to analytics and sports performance and strength and conditioning? Are we aligned in how we want to build, the football program? And if they didn't check those boxes, they may not be here. But if I did my research and I hadn't worked with them and they checked a lot of those boxes, then they're in the mix, and they'll be in here and we'll be evaluating them. As you go through that evaluation process, how much of that is, you right now meeting with the scouts and getting to know the personnel department here and trying to say, okay, here's what we need to start planning and looking forward to? Like, how does that transpire over the next couple of weeks? Yeah, that's a great question. So some of our scouts are they're in LA right now at an all-star game, the NFLPA game. So had a Zoom with them yesterday, which was really good. It was productive, kind of let them know, this is how we're going to do things. This is how I want it done. So when you get in February meeting, make sure we know X, Y, and Z about the players. I met with the pro staff last night. Same deal as free agency approaches. Here's how we're going to attack it. Again, we may not have a lot of money this year. We're going to have to get creative and get back in better cap health. But, just kind of the process on, meetings, the calendar, just met with those guys and put that stuff together. So they know, what the deadlines are. And then, again, once we get the new staff in here, what exactly we're looking for from a scheme standpoint, from a position-specific standpoint, and then we'll really start to develop the off-season plan then. Have you ever, in your 20 years of experience, been a part of a draft where you had this many high picks this close together? No, I can't. We obviously had 2 first-round picks with Josh and Tremaine. And again, we thought we were going to maybe have to use those to go up and get the quarterback, but not to the point where I'm, probably going to have a chance to use both of them, with not trying to move up. So I haven't had 11 picks. I'm excited about it. I echoed that to our staff about we really have a chance through the draft to affect the 2022 roster over the next 3 months, and just the importance of, knowing the players, knowing their background, knowing how they're going to fit us are all things that they're going to be researching. So I probably should have started with this question, but what is it about the New York Giants that attracted you so much? Yeah, I'm from Indiana, so I tell people I grew up, there's a cornfield across the road from me, so there's always this interest as a kid of New York City and how big it was and how amazing the city was. So just growing up, seeing Coach Parcells, and I was probably 4 or 5, my dad would take me to the Notre Dame spring football games, the blue gold game, and I met Mark Bavaro when I was probably 4 years old. And my mom's still trying to find that picture, but from then on, I was a Giants fan because of Mark Bavaro, and he played at Notre Dame, and then again, Coach Parcells and the success they had. So just the history of the franchise, Mr. Mara, Tisch family, both of them have amazing relationships around our reputation around the league. So ever since I started, John Fox came to Carolina, and after the 2001 season, I met him, and he always spoke so highly of the organization. And again, throughout my 21 years, this organization's always been put in high regard. So, that was attractive. And my relationship with, the Mara family, the Tisch family throughout the process, it just felt like a very good fit. Yeah, great fit indeed. And we're going to get the chance to see you, your introductory press conference. Real quick, what are you doing to get ready? And do you know what you're wearing? So I know what I'm wearing. My wife picked that out for me and sent me with
move,
it.
Yeah, before I left.
Outsource it. Yeah. She had the shirt, tie, shoes, everything together. So preparation, I need to prepare because I haven't, since I've been on the job, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, today's Tuesday, we've had a head coaching interview. So, the opportunity to sit down and try to, collect my thoughts and, guess what they're going to ask me. I haven't had a lot of time to do that. But again, it's talking football. I'm going to be myself. They're going to get an idea of who I am and what I believe in. And I think if I'm just myself, it shouldn't be too bad of a deal.
No, I think that'll be just fine,
Yeah.
Joe. Thanks so much for the time. Congratulations, and I'll let you get to work.
All right. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.